Hi, I'm Stephanie Dyer, and this is Escape into a Cause, the podcast about the people and nonprofits making a difference across Central Texas. I am not the expert, but I get to sit down with the folks who are. And together, we talk about what it really looks like to give back, get involved, and strengthen the community we live in. As always, I'm joined by Courtney Dickey, former president of the Junior League of Austin. She has spent much of her life volunteering and leading nonprofits, all while working full-time as an in-house lawyer. And this week, we're welcoming Piper Steggy-Nelson, Executive Director of I Live Here, I Give Here, the team behind Amplify Austin Day, to walk us through a topic that matters, trust-based philanthropy. We've talked about what it means to trust nonprofits, from looking up their Form 990s to volunteering to joining a board, or even just showing up at public programs like those hosted by the Austin Parks Foundation. But today, we are asking, what does it look like when funders trust nonprofits? Things like making grant applications simpler or providing unrestricted funds that let organizations do their best work. And speaking of Austin Parks Foundation, we will be joined after our topic that matters by Katie Kennedy and Caitlyn Denham. With more than 400 parks in Austin, they will share how you can show up for your favorite green space, give us one more reason to buy the ACL ticket, and let us in on who's performing at their Party for the Parks on October 8th. So let's dive into the idea of trust and then escape into Austin Parks Foundation with Katie and Caitlyn. I think you'll leave with new ways to show up for your local park. I hope you enjoy. Today, we have Piper Steggy-Nelson, which you may have listened to in I Live Here, I Give Here. She's the executive director there, and she is fantastic and oh so knowledgeable, which is why Courtney and I have asked her to come join us on a couple of topics.
So excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. What a treat to be with you all.
Courtney, you doing good?
Doing good.
As always?
Yes. I'm trying to figure out, is it going to rain? Are we having storms? Are we not?
The radio said that it's going to rain and then there might be tornadoes. And I was like, what's happening?
Why is the only time we get rain coupled with the chance of tornadoes?
Disaster.
No, but also, Courtney,
Yes?
every time we record together, we have issues getting home. Okay, Courtney and I decided to come here to record the studio. It was late at night because we're always doing off hours. So Courtney is a very, very busy woman, and I try to get a little time in with her to record when I can. And we came here together. We went back together. We had to stop at the Rudy's gas station and let the rain go. There were 20 cars?
Sheets of rain, potential hail. We were like waiting for the hail, but like so much so we couldn't really see the road. And we're like, we're going to pull over. That's a smart thing to do. And then all of a sudden we are completely surrounded by other cars who are trying to do the same. And we're all just underneath this Rudy's gas station.
Not good forecast while we're out recording.
Doing good inside.
Outside, can't really control.
Can't control.
Yeah, can't
That
control.
isn't that should be your byline. Good inside, can't control outside.
That is so true.
Okay, so later today, we are going to escape into Austin Parks Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to improving and protecting Austin's beloved parks and green spaces. From playgrounds to trails to community events, they believe public parks are essential to a thriving city.
Amazing.
Yeah. I love talking to these foundations that create green spaces in urban areas like Austin.
It's so important.
So important.
Right.
First, we're going to dive into a topic which Piper is going to educate us on a little bit, and we can converse about it. And it's about trust-based philanthropy, and that includes unrestricted funds.
Yeah.
And Piper, maybe can you just kick off and get us started on this topic?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just preface this by saying that I am not an expert, but it's something that I have really enjoyed getting to learn about over the last year and a half since I've been in this job. The idea of trust-based philanthropy really came out of the concern that communities, and specifically communities of color, were not getting what they needed when it came to grant giving from foundations. So this is how this started. So what they were feeling was that foundations and grant-making entities were really telling them what to do and were driving the process. Trust-based philanthropy is this beautiful idea that came out of philanthropy to say, let's do a better job integrating diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging into our giving, into our grant making. And I'm telling you all this background because the principles apply to your individual giver, but it's still really cool. As they were looking at what they could do to better build the equity inclusion into their giving, what they heard was that they weren't placing enough trust in the organizations that were receiving the funds. After a long series of conversations, they came up with sort of this set of practices that really build trust and allow the organizations to do what they need to do in the community. They're the ones who know the community. The tenets of trust-based philanthropy are things like, if you're a grant-making entity and you have an application, make the application really easy, or don't even have an application. Have it be a verbal conversation rather than an application. Similarly with your reporting. If you are a grant-making entity and you're doing reporting or you're requiring reporting, make it really simple. Make it very easy, and you could even do it verbally. Have a conversation with them rather than making that something that they have to submit. And then the other piece was the unrestricted funds. Lots of times what was happening and still happens is that a foundation will say, or a corporation will say, we will fund X. I'm going to actually use Impact Austin as an example of this. Impact Austin is a local giving circle of women, and they would have local nonprofits apply to them for funds from their giving circle. And the application was pretty intense. And it required like an in-person presentation and all this paperwork and all these sorts of things. And then it was for a specific project. And so the Impact Austin group was saying, we will fund this specific project, and you have to use the funds for this specific project, right? That works for some organizations, but many times what organizations really need is just unrestricted funds, funds that they can use for whatever they need. Impact Austin is a great example. They have made their application much easier, and now they give unrestricted funds. And that's really beautiful. That's the tenet, is that when you are thinking about giving your funds, whether you are a foundation or a giving circle or an individual, it's about trusting the organization that you're giving your funds to, knowing they're going to do good with it, getting to know them first so that you do trust them, you are comfortable, and then understanding that they're going to do good with what the money you've given them. And you don't need to check up on them or request additional information or things like that.
And for people like me, I like to explain things like you're a 5-year-old. An example that I would hear. So like progressive art studios, you have Art from the Streets, you have Sage Studio that allows artists with disabilities to sell their art, and Art from the Streets allows people who have had housing insecurity sell art and also have it as a creative outlet. They both have studios at the Canopy, and we've interviewed both of them. And to have an art studio there to make them feel like they belong and are part of the community, that requires a little bit higher rent, but is well worth it to make them feel like they are part of this artistic community. Unrestricted funds, let's just be like very basic. Unrestricted funds would say, I'm a donor or I'm a foundation or whatever it is, and I want to give only to, and I'm going to make it like, it's usually, I guess, projects or certain programs, but say I just want to go straight to the art supplies. I don't know. But then maybe the art studio goes and gets a lot of art supplies donated to them, and they still have rent, and they cannot make rent. How do those unrestricted funds help? They're not helping the nonprofit. I know that that's a very 5-year-old example, but
it's great.
That's how I think about it, is you should trust that the nonprofit knows that that month they know rent is number one, not whatever you as a donor said, I want my money to go towards. So instead of just to be able to trust the nonprofit that will go to the best expense.
Absolutely. When I was at the Safe Alliance, people frequently would give gifts. They wanted to just help the children because the Safe Alliance served everyone. And so you have to let them know, yes, this will absolutely serve the children, but it's also serving everything else that we do in the community, the education, the salaries, all those sorts of things. Another example is Mackenzie Scott has been making these incredible, like millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, Mackenzie Scott is Jeff Bezos's ex-wife. Yeah, but go ahead.
And she said, I got all of this money from this divorce and I'm going to do good with it. She's been making these enormous unrestricted gifts. So Communities in Schools is a local organization that does amazing work in our schools, provides wraparound services to kids and families that are struggling. They received a huge gift from Mackenzie Scott, and it was unrestricted. And so they were financially doing okay. Nobody's doing great right now, but doing okay. So what they got to do with this is they got to spend this money on salaries in addition to other things. But because it was unrestricted, they could say to their staff, we see you, you deserve more, we're going to invest in you. And that's beautiful.
It causes people to go and look at majoring in social work and going into these nonprofit jobs and roles. I love that. Yes. And we actually had something similar happen at the Junior League of Austin. And speaking of I Live Here, I Give Here, it was with the Amplify Austin campaign. We have a foundation who is a wonderful grantor to us. They gave us a match for $15,000. We were in parallel planning our Amplify Austin campaign for unrestricted, but the match was restricted. And therefore, it totally changed our campaign on Amplify. Like we were there the night before, changing all the content, saying, okay, it's actually going just towards our Food and Tummies program, because otherwise I could not have achieved the match. It was fine. Money is money, and Food and Tummies it's still much more, it requires much more funding than we received through the match. It was fine, but man, it would have been nice to have those unrestricted.
Yeah. And one of the things that we usually brag about with Amplify Austin Day is that you had a match and you had to adhere to that. But most of the time it is unrestricted funds. So when these nonprofits engage in Amplify Austin Day, one of the things that they're doing is they're getting money that they can use for anything that they need to use it for.
This is where the match created a complication.
And this goes beyond nonprofits, like this kind of debate and conversation of whether we give specific services and restrict versus unrestricted funds to people who need them that are low income. That's a very popular debate right now. I don't know if y'all have heard this.
Yeah.
Do we go try and give them housing, or do we just give them a check? They know what they need to prioritize, like what type of housing, food. Anyway, interesting debate. I won't go into that, but it just reminds me of the same debate here.
Yeah. And trusting humans.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much, Piper and Courtney. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steph.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
We'll be right back. Escape into a Cause is sponsored by Nightlight Insurance Agency. You know how a nightlight gives you comfort and peace of mind in the dark? That's exactly what Nightlight aims to do. Guide you through life's uncertainties with personalized insurance for your home, auto, business, and more. Nightlight Insurance strives to provide its clients the best coverage at the best price without sacrificing on customer service. Here's what one client had to say. Nightlight was able to lower our car insurance significantly, answered all our questions, and returned our calls promptly. Very professional, would highly recommend. So it's no surprise Nightlight has a 5-star rating on Google. Nightlight also makes this podcast possible by covering production costs so all other sponsorship dollars and gifts can go directly to nonprofits and volunteers. And as part of their mission to give back, Nightlight proudly donates $1,000 to every nonprofit we interview. If you are a sponsor interested in giving back to our podcast, please find us on social media and let us know. Nightlight is an agency focused on personalized service and giving back. See how much you could save and how good it feels to have peace of mind by visiting nightlightinsurance.com. We're escaping into Austin Parks Foundation, and we have Caitlyn Denham, the Senior Events and Partnerships Manager. Hi, Caitlyn.
Hi, guys.
And then we have Katie Kennedy, VP of Marketing and Communications. Hey, Katie.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thank you both for coming. And a little tidbit that you'll have on your team site is your favorite park.
Yes.
Because this is Austin Parks Foundation. Do you want to share what your favorite park is?
Yeah, so mine is Mueller Lake Park. I love that there's always something going on over there. And then you can also just hop right over to shopping and lots of extra activities. So it's kind of the
area
perfect.
is growing so much. It's awesome.
I know, and it's going to continue to grow.
Really good area for families. What about you, Katie?
Mine is Walnut Creek Metro Park. It's my neighborhood park, so I can get there in less than 5 minutes with my dogs, and it's got off-leash areas, and they just like to go crazy and gets their energy out, and we just explore all the different trails. There's so much to see.
I was going to say, one of my friends is expecting, and so we've done some trail walks over there.
It's beautiful.
So beautiful. I didn't realize it.
And it's 300 acres, so there's always something. I mean, you've probably just done the tip of the iceberg, and there's so much to see there.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I love Austin because I think parks are a fundamental part of Austin.
Absolutely.
Okay, so maybe let's just dive straight into what does Austin Parks Foundation do? Katie, were you going to speak to this?
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that. Austin Parks Foundation has been around for more than 30 years, and we really work to make our nearly 400 parks, trails, and green spaces better, cleaner, safer, and more accessible for everyone in Austin. And so we do a lot of work to fill the funding and resource gap that the City of Austin's Parks and Rec Department faces. So we do a lot of financial support, park improvement projects on our own, working with PARD. We also have a robust volunteer program, innovative programming, special events. We just want to make sure that our parks are better for everyone. And since we've launched in 1992, we have invested more than $85 million into our parks. That's a big number.
That's incredible. Because that's the gap that the city of Austin is not taking care of. More than $85 million in 33 years.
It's hard to quantify, like from the 90s. We don't really have access to those records readily. So we're comfortable saying more than 85. It might be a whole lot more than 85.
Yeah. Okay, great. And I think I just overheard it, but 400 parks, trails, and green spaces.
We're
is that
close
right?
to that. Yeah, it's pretty close. That's a lot for a city, right? But like you said, everybody wants to be outside in Austin. So they are definitely well loved and well used.
I I've got some questions. One, what constitutes a park?
That's a great question. I don't know that I know the answer to that. It must be designated by the city Parks and Rec department. And that parkland is owned by the city, yes.
Okay, and there's 400. Do you happen to know what is the location? How much does that
spread?
span?
So that's within the city limits of Austin. Traditionally, the Eastern Crescent has been underserved. That's where we do a lot of our work because we want to make sure that those places that kind of don't have the resources or historically haven't had the resources are brought up to the level that everyone gets to experience.
Okay, great. I'm just trying to wrap my head around 400 parks.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Okay, and want to dive into the impact and the programs.
Probably our biggest program is our volunteer program. We engage more than 12,000 volunteers every year. And so that's a ton. But I mean, there's so many parks to volunteer at that there's always work to be done. We do open work days every month. They're usually on the first Saturday of every month. And we'll put on our events calendar where it is, what kind of activity you'll be doing. Usually it's something like mulching, weed wrenching, litter cleanup, something like that. And our staff is there to help guide you through everything. We provide all the tools. You really just show up. Then we also have our It's My Park Day event, which is our biannual event that happens on the first Saturdays of March and November. So we have one coming up in November. And I kind of describe it as a flash mob of volunteerism because it's 90 to 100 projects happening all over the city at the same time in 3 hours on a Saturday morning.
And different projects, are those each at a different park?
Sometimes if it's a large enough park, for example, Zilker Park might have a couple happening in there, or it changes with every event that we do for It's My Park Day. So odds are if you have a park that you love, or if you just want to go somewhere close to you and volunteer without having to drive an hour or whatever, there's probably something within 5 minutes of where you live. And then we also do the volunteer program at Austin City Limits Music Festival, which is very competitive because if you volunteer, if you're in the morning or the afternoon, whenever you're not volunteering, you get to go to the festival. So this is our Rock and Recycle program. We run the Divert It program and also those hydration stations at ACL.
Okay, I'm sure a lot of people raise their hand to volunteer for ACL.
Absolutely. It's competitive. So
Do you have a lottery system?
we have a different company that manages that and they review the application. You do get priority if you volunteered before or if you have more flexibility with availability. So if you're wanting to get in there, I would say mark that you're available for every shift and you might get one.
Yeah, okay. So show up more often and you'll get priority.
Exactly.
Very cool. I like that there's a priority system.
Yes.
And then, Caitlyn, did you want to speak to some programs?
Yes, obviously we're doing all of this great work in making these parks accessible and updated, and we want to make sure people are coming out to those parks. What I do with Austin Parks Foundation is really help to bring those community events into the parks so that we can bring not just the neighborhoods, but everyone around Austin, because again, because there's over 400 spaces, there's lots to explore. So we want to have people come over from all over. So we host our In the Park series. These are free community events that we put on all over Austin, so in all 10 districts. And they range from everything from movies in the park, which are really large, and we have them at really big park locations, including we've been doing some summer series at the Deep Eddy Pool, just to keep everybody out of the heat. But we also do smaller ones like play dates in the park for little kids, art in the park. We do fitness in the park. We've got a great one going on during the summer at Zilker, where they do yoga in the morning and then do a deep plunge in Barton Springs. And then we are starting some new ones. This year we started a Hoops in the Park, which is a basketball-oriented class. And then we're going to be starting some new ones for seniors to make sure that we're accessing all demographics and ages to be able to come out and enjoy their parks.
The Hoops, is that a competition or?
So right now it's just a basketball skills class, but it may end up evolving into something more of a competition.
Okay, I'm just throwing that out there because my 16-year-old, he went to a Peace Park 3v3 that they hosted, and him and his friend were so hooked because he didn't want to do basketball after freshman year, but he wanted to do pickup games. So then they started looking all over the community, who else is putting on basketball tournaments.
That's a
I
good
love
tip.
that. Yes.
Yeah,
No,
that's
good
awesome.
to know.
And even people that were outside, they were coming to me while I was watching. They were like, how do I get in on this? I was like, you had to register by, a couple days ago, but it seemed to be popular.
That's
so
really
just throwing
cool.
that out there.
No, thank
Good
you.
idea.
Okay, very cool. So In the Park series, again, volunteers, ACL, It's My Park Day, In the Park series. And then I think there's Adopt a Park is also something that's a program that you might want to speak to.
If you have a park that you are really tied to and you love, this is a way to become a stewardship leader of the park. And so you're sort of organizing other people to come together. You organize volunteer events. You submit applications for our ACL Music Fest grants if you want to see a park improvement. You can also establish what's called an SFA, a sponsored fund account. And so this is a way for these groups to raise money under our 501c3 status. So they raise the funds, we hold the monies, we sort of act like the bank to help them through that tax exempt status.
Yeah, that's great. So then you're getting your tax deduction if you're contributing towards your local park.
Exactly.
Yeah. So say I want some improvements done to my park, the Austin Parks and Recreation Department, what should they be taking care of and what should I go, hey, let's raise our hand and let's go make that improvement? Is there a clear line in the sand?
We have done a lot of social posts about this and videos and trying to educate people because that's a great question. We get a lot of inbound messages that are like, the trash is overflowing at my park. This is broken or there's something specific at the park. PARD maintains all the parks, so we have to direct them to PARD. If you have a larger scale idea for a park, or if you're just not sure, reach out to us. We can help you navigate the system. And if it's something like, let's say you want to put in a new trail in your park or something like that, we work with PARD in everything that we do, but we can help by maybe providing funds for that, helping you apply for a grant, things like that. So we really help navigate the system with you.
Great.
Yes.
That's super helpful. So trash overflowing, reach out to PARD.
Yes. But if you message us, we'll tell you. If you're not sure, you can shoot us a message and we'll say, hey, that's them or that's us.
Okay.
It does get confusing.
Yes.
Great. Yeah. And so volunteers, you already said over 12,000 a year. I think that's the most volunteers I've heard of from a local nonprofit that I've interviewed.
Wow.
So
It's My Park Day is the big one for that because we get 3,000 just in that morning each time. So there's 6,000 right there. So
how many volunteers with ACL?
A couple thousand
Yeah.
at least.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's 2 weekends. It's a lot of different programming. So yeah, I'd say probably around 4,000 or so.
Yeah, 4,000
Yeah.
or 5,000 for sure.
Oh, wow. I don't know how y'all coordinate that, but
We have teams
Yes.
that do that. Yeah.
kudos to you.
Yeah.
There's also grants like the ACL Music Festival grant.
Yeah, grants are really a great way for those park adopter groups to fund projects that they'd like to see in their park. So we offer different levels, and you can go on our website and read which one you would categorize your request under. You submit an application, our team comes out, checks it out, we kind of review if it's feasible or not, and then if it is, we will give you the money to make it happen.
Love that. And then community events. You were, I think, speaking to that, Caitlyn.
Yes.
I don't know if this is the same as the in the park series.
So it's a little bit different. So not
Okay.
only do we put on our own community events, but we actually are able to put money towards sponsoring community events that are happening on the larger scale that are citywide. So if you think of Juneteenth, Pride Fest, Trail of Lights, Kite Fest, all of those that are usually free to the public, but obviously take some money to be able to put those on, we are able to put some sponsorship dollars behind that to really make sure that these events can continue to happen and they're free for people to continue to come to, because we want to keep people coming out to our parks, and the more park events that we have, the better everything else is. So
That's great. So y'all partner and help organize.
And I think Caitlyn is very strategic about the ones that we are sponsoring because they have a tie to the parks and there's a reason why. And it's really just creating those relationships with those other organizations because we want to work together for the greater good of the park.
I feel like there's certain things that I'm like, this is Austin. And like Trail of Lights and Kite Fest are a couple
totally.
of those.
Yeah.
And of course, Zilker. So Zilker's my favorite park because I run there.
Oh,
so,
nice. Okay, so
um,
we can talk about that. The Trail of Lights this year was especially exciting because we just recently revitalized the mini train in Zilker Park. And so we tied it to our Trail of Lights sponsorship where we had the train open at night. It's usually not open at night. And it was like a Polar Express tie-in. So yeah, it was really exciting this year.
And that was just this past Trail of Lights.
We just tried it
Yes.
this past year. I think we might tweak things a little bit about how we operate it. I mean, we were just trying things out. It's our first year operating it. So it was really cool though.
Okay, that's great. I love that. Back when the train, I don't know when it went out of service.
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Okay, because my children were young and we would ride that train.
Yeah.
And it'd be so much fun.
You should take them back now.
I know, as teenagers,
Yeah.
let's just, no, I love
Recreate
that.
the photos,
They'll
right?
have headphones
Yes.
in. They won't hear what
On
I'm
their
saying.
phone,
We'll be like, we're doing it again. I love that. Okay. And then fundraising. I understand you don't rely on government
We don't
funding.
rely on, we do have some grants, but usually they're from private foundations
Okay.
or city funds.
So donations and then I'm assuming events.
So our donor programs, we have a couple giving circles. So we have our perennial partners, and that's when you commit to making a monthly donation between $5 and $99. You're in that special group. And then if you commit to $100 or more a month, then you're in our Groundbreakers group. And it's just a really good opportunity to give back, and you get special perks from us. You're the first to know about special events, and you get to join us at special things that we're doing. So it's really fun too. And we also love one-time donations. We do a lot of appeals. We participate in Amplify Austin, Giving Tuesday. End of year is huge for us. So we rely definitely on those one-time donations. But a really big piece of our fundraising is our partnership with ACL Music Festival. And so we're celebrating our 20th year of that partnership this year. A lot of people don't know that when you buy a ticket to ACL, you're not just buying a ticket to see this great live music, to experience the festival. A portion of the ticket sales also go to benefit our parks. And so since this partnership launched 20 years ago, it has raised $71 million for our parks, which is crazy. We just did our check presentation in May. It goes up every year. The funds from our 2024 festival generated $8.4 million for our parks.
Wow. So I can tell my son when he goes to ACL that he's actually contributing to a nonprofit.
Well, that should be his pitch to you. Come
that's
on,
true.
Mom. This is for the betterment of our parks.
That should totally be his pitch to
I
me.
hope he's listening.
I make him put a little money to charity every time he
great.
gets some money.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to be like, oh, can I go towards my ACL ticket?
Technically.
He's going to figure something
Yeah.
out. I'm not going to let him listen to this episode. Okay. And then you have Party for the Parks, which is
Yes.
your form of a gala. Is it an actual gala?
Party for the Parks, it is our gala, but it is unlike any other traditional gala because it's not in a ballroom. We are very lucky to be able to host it on the grounds of the ACL Music Festival. So it's that Wednesday night between the 2 weekends of ACL. And what's really nice is it's pretty much like a unique VIP ACL experience. So if you've ever been to ACL and you know that there are a lot of people coming out to this event where you have about 1,000 people, it's so nice because you do get to experience the entire grounds of ACL while also having a special performance by an ACL artist. It's a very nice and unique experience just because of the fact that not everybody gets to be on the grounds of ACL without thousands and thousands of people.
It's a little surreal when you're walking on the grounds and you're in the flags and there's
Yes.
no one around you. It is unique.
Giving back pays off, right?
It does, right?
Exactly.
Y'all are winning me over. Courtney, Dickie, and I talk about topics that matter at the beginning. We always unearth different topics around philanthropy and nonprofits. And we're talking about how, like, start just doing things as self-serving, and then you're just going to want to start showing up and helping.
Absolutely. That's a great way to get started.
Yeah, and I think y'all having ACL, that's not a bad bullet point to mention.
Right.
I know Party for the Parks raises money, and then you have that VIP all experience.
We also have an incredible musical performance. So it's like a mini concert. So this year it's Passion Pit and they'll be performing. You get to be literally right up at the stage. It's really cool. There's a live auction. I mean, it's just so much fun. You kind of forget that you're doing something good because you're enjoying yourself so much.
Love Passion Pit. Is it a different musician each year?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
Okay, is it a little bit of a surprise usually, and then you release it?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
fun.
So we go through some different options and then we do a fun announcement of who it is. We were really excited when we found out this year that it was going to be Passion Pit because
We're millennials and we love Passion Pit.
Yeah. We're all millennials.
Yeah.
You'll have about 1,000 people there. Do people want to show up to that every year?
Oh, yeah. The fun thing is tickets are on sale. So you can go to party.austinparks.org right now and buy your ticket. It's going to be a blast this year, not only because of Passion Pit being our performer, but we'll have Taco Deli, who's providing the delicious food. We'll have Good Pop there. Tito's is one of our large sponsors. You get a lot of different Tito's things there as well. And we'll have a live auction, a gift card gamble, a tipsy toss. There's just so many fun activities to do. And we'll have lots of just festival-y fun photo booths.
And photo ops. And
Is it usually adults? Like galas are very much adult oriented.
it's mostly
Yes.
adults. Some people bring their kids every
No,
once in
I've
a while.
seen
Yeah.
some formal. I've seen some formal galas
Yeah.
where we're like, oh, there's a table with a child.
Yeah.
It's mostly adults, though. Sometimes when the band is something that's a little younger than some parents want to bring their kids, but I think Passion Pit is more for adults.
Yeah,
Yes.
millennials, come on
Yeah.
out. All right.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. And we've talked about the impact and the programs and what you guys are doing, which is amazing. I'd love to dive into maybe some stories that connect listeners to Austin Parks Foundation. Do you have anything you can share?
Impactful stories for me. The train is just at top of mind because it's been such an exciting first year with it. And I'm not from Austin, so I don't have the nostalgia of growing up on the train, but I know so many people do. And so when we brought the train back, just being down there, we would go down and take pictures, and we're sharing stuff on social, and just hearing from people saying, I used to go on this train when I was a kid, and now I'm taking my kid on the train, was really cool. And accessibility is such a big part of our mission that when we brought the train back, we wanted to make sure that it was accessible. So we have 2 ADA compliant train cars. So wheelchairs can go on it. Any ability can go on the train. And so to see families that are able to go on the train as a whole family unit, regardless of ability level, has been, I think, the most impactful part.
And that wasn't a possibility before.
No, that's new. Yeah.
Okay, who thought to bring the train back? Because I feel like that hasn't this been a conversation for a while out there?
Yes.
I know I'm one of those that's like, where's the train at?
Yeah.
I miss it.
Yeah, I think it was our CEO, Colin. The train is not a traditional park project for us, but he's thinking of what the city needs, what people want. And it was clearly a want for people to be able to go on the train again. We started the process and realized like, whoa, mini trains are their own world. This is not our forte, like we're in a park. So then we had to find the right team to come in and help us. And Barton Springs and the park in Zilker is very unique, the environmental needs, and you have to be very careful, and you can't make any of the tunnels bigger, so you got to keep the train. There were a lot of different logistics that we had to work with to ensure that it was safe for the park, safe for people. So it took us a while, but it was such an exciting day when we were able to officially open it to the public.
Well, you would think it's such a specialized vendor that can handle
Yes,
that, I would
yes.
think. I mean, you're probably not getting 10 quotes.
No. No, it was like we're searching. We're trying to find the right people.
So Austin can thank Austin Parks Foundation for the train.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. What about you, Caitlyn?
One thing that just really stood out to me, so we've talked about how we do a lot of park projects. One was Highland Neighborhood Park. We met this woman not that long ago who had just moved to Austin, had moved into the Highland Park neighborhood area, and she had said how there was a park space nearby, but they called it the ditch park because it was pretty much just open space and looked like a ditch, which unfortunately a lot of parks, especially on that east side where they've been at, just without all the additional funding and improvements that haven't been able to be made. She actually got involved with Austin Parks Foundation to see what she could do to start making that into an actual park back in 2019. And so since then, now it has got a beautiful playground, some wonderful trails. We just finished installing a new pedestrian bridge over there. There's an art project that was just completed. So we'll actually be doing, I think, a ribbon cutting soon right there just to celebrate all the fun improvements. But it's just so interesting to see just how one person who lives in a neighborhood who really wants to have a green space for her family to come to that's not just a patch of grass and some dirt was able to come to us, and we really helped make that with Austin Parks and Recreation Department into the beautiful park that it is now that she can bring her family to and have lots of activities at. So that was really fun and rewarding for us.
I'm sure I'll get this all the time, but that totally reminds me of Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yes. Whenever you were asking what constitutes a park, I was thinking of that tiny little park that she created. I'm like, wow, that's a great question.
Yeah, the pit,
Yes,
right?
yes, the pit.
So this is actually the active show that us as the family of 4. So my older son, we're able to start watching a little bit more
nice.
adult
Yeah.
shows, but the younger one, this is the show that we're watching as a whole family.
Yeah.
And he loves Tom. Anyway, they needed a Parks Foundation.
Yeah,
clearly.
they did.
They
They
did.
needed a hand.
I love that show. Okay. I guess my question also would be, so say you see some land, you're like, I want to put a park there. How do you go about knowing like that's public land? Is there like a roadmap to follow before you even think, can I make this space into a park? We don't have a park nearby. Just curious how she went about that.
I know this sounds simple, but you can Google it and see like at the intersection if it does look like there's a park there. But you can also just reach out to us, go on our website. We have a list of adoptable parks. You can look at the different design services we offer, the grants that we offer, and then you can find kind of the right person to reach out to. Or you can just email us directly or reach out on social and we can help direct you.
So in the Meadow Park, is that right?
Highland Park.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Meadow Park. I think that's a different.
There is another
yes.
one. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Highland Park, in that example, was it deemed a park before she? Okay, so it was a park, and she
it
said,
just needed improvements.
"Got
Yeah,
it."
yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't like a pit. Let's
Yeah,
turn
I
this
don't.
into a park.
I don't think we can. I think that PARD would have to designate it as a park before
Parkland.
we could step in. and
Okay,
help.
perfect. I'm living too much in the TV show. I always ask us to give a good brag, and this is just to to share something good you've done recently. It could be a small act of kindness, anything. Katie, do you have something to share?
Yeah. So I'm a baker. That's my stress release. I love to bake anything and everything. But my specialty is decorated sugar cookies. And so I have volunteered with a group called Icing Smiles, and they provide cakes and cookies to families affected by critically ill children. And so each month they put out a call for volunteers, and you get assigned a family, and I do the cookies. And so you make them a batch of cookies and you send it to them. And so it might go to the child who's affected by the illness, but it might go to their siblings because they might need a little boost too. Because sometimes whenever you're living with a sibling who has a critical illness, sometimes you might not get all the attention that you're used to, and they need a little birthday boost or something. So it's been really rewarding, especially because there's no contact between me and the family. So I just get to think, oh, they're probably getting their cookies right now and enjoying them. So it just makes me feel really good.
Yeah, experiences like that impact the whole household.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so do you do that regularly?
I do
or-
it once a month. It's a different family every month.
Okay.
And they don't really give you any guidelines of what the design should be or if it's for a birthday or what it's for. So I usually just go seasonal. So this last month I made cookies, like beach themed cookies with palm trees.
Oh,
And
that's so great.
shells and
Does
stuff.
anybody in your family or do you have any friends or neighbors that join in with you?
No.
No?
I'm the solo baker. Yeah.
Oh, that's
But
so great.
I can attest that they don't only look amazing, they taste amazing too.
Well, thank
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying.
You're like, you know where I work now.
Yeah,
Drop 'em off.
exactly. That's a really good brag, especially because you're doing it by yourself. Even my husband's, he's like, babe, you do not have to do everything with someone.
Right. For me, I like doing it's like my quiet time where I can just focus on something and not be distracted by. So I think I would rather do it by myself.
Do you listen to music?
I listen to podcasts usually.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. And you'll have a podcast there.
Yes, People of the Parks, the official podcast of Austin Parks Foundation.
Yeah, check it out.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And then another good brag.
Yes, so I do not bake. I am a huge animal lover, and cats are my heartstring. I've been helping our friend create her own cat lounge that'll eventually also be a nonprofit. So that's in my spare time. I'm helping by giving some advice and giving planning advice when she needs it, but it's something that's very deep and very connected. I've always been a cat lover.
So Caitlyn, your friend is starting a nonprofit for cats.
She is, yes.
Has she heard of Shadow Cats?
She has, and she's been working with them, but this one will be here in Austin instead of up in Round Rock. And it'll have a cat lounge space as well. So I'm excited about that as a potential working.
What is that? Oh, so it's like you can just
You
go
can
hang out?
Yeah, it's Blue Cat Cafe used to be here where it was like a coffee space that you could also hang out with the cats. It's similar to that, but it's going to also allow you to have adult beverages and working space. So I'm excited because cats calm me. So
Yeah, there you go.
I love that. So I am a dog person, but half my friends are cat people, and I think they'll be there. What we just tell me when that opens,
Yes, I
and
will
I'm going to let
definitely.
them all know. Shadow Cats, though, Courtney and I were looking at the most recent Amplify Austin Day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, number 1 was Central Texas Food Bank. Number 2 is Shadow Cats.
They always
Yes.
do amazing. on
that is their
Amplify
largest
Austin.
fundraiser
Yeah.
of the year.
That just shows you how many people love cats.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Big cat people. Okay. Now that y'all have bragged, which those are both really good brags, would love to give listeners chance for bragging rights to step up for Austin Parks Foundation. Clearly, volunteer opportunities and donations. If y'all want to speak more into how listeners can step up, I think you mentioned all ages, right? Like in terms of demographic, things like the gala, maybe more adult oriented, but volunteering, showing up, bring the family. Is that right?
So I would suggest if you do want to bring kids, It's My Park Day is a great opportunity for that. Tons of kids participate in the day. And if there's a volunteer event that isn't geared towards kids, we'll say this is probably better for adults. So just read the description and it'll say if it's for the whole family. And some of them, they even have entertainment for kids. So there are some volunteer days where we'll have an art class or there's something else for kids to do while they're there. I would say our immediate need would be volunteers. So if you would like to join in, a great entry point is our open work days that happen every month, or our It's My Park Day, or come to an event. That's a really good way to get to know us before you even volunteer and learn a little bit more about Austin Parks Foundation. And then I would say if you're interested, Party for the Parks is a great way to get to know us as well.
Lots of ways to show up. And I know you were talking about donations earlier. Anything up until $99 a month would get you into the
Perennial partners.
perennial partners. And beyond that, 100 plus is the groundbreakers.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I find myself to be now a broken record player, but reoccurring donations. It just gives you stability, allows these nonprofits to plan.
Absolutely.
So even a smaller amount, if you just set it and forget it.
Totally, yeah.
Put it in your budget, it's very meaningful. Right?
I mean, $5 a month can make a huge difference. So yeah, every dollar counts.
Okay, great. And then also just want to talk about maybe going back into the Adopt a Park program. There's a few examples that you'll have where groups have adopted a park.
The Adopt a Park program, it doesn't have to be a big production. It can just be one person who wants to see a difference. We're currently working on a project at Grand Meadow Park that was one person saw the possibility in the Grand Meadow, that it could be a grand park, and that has snowballed into this big project. We recently installed some disc golf baskets, I think at Roy G. Guerrero. Yeah. But that was just a group of disc golfers who they needed new golf baskets, and they just came together and were able to make it happen with our help. So it doesn't have to be a big production. It can just be, hey, we want to do this. It doesn't have to be formal. We can just work together and make it happen.
Yeah, and what a great way to get to know your neighbors or a community is to like go in on this project together. We see how everyone bonded in Parks and Rec in the pit.
Yes,
you know?
exactly. Well, and whenever you go to the same park all the time, you start to see the same people all the time. They probably want the same thing that you want if they're going all the time. It's not going to hurt to ask them to join you.
One more time, Party for the Parks. That's the Wednesday evening between the two ACL weekends.
October 8th.
Can you already buy tickets?
Yes.
Okay, great. So buy tickets, get that VIP ACL experience, show up for Austin Parks Foundation. And is there anything next, anything exciting in the near term?
I will say, keep an eye out on our 2026 calendar because we're going to be adding some new events, new fundraising opportunities. I'm just really excited about all of the growth that Austin Parks Foundation has in store for it, at least on the event side.
I will say there's a big conference coming to Austin in 2026, the Greater and Greener Conference. And this brings people from the Parks and Rec world from all over the country together. And we're going to be a part of that. So that'll be really exciting to share what comes out of that conference. And that'll be a lot of people in our city experiencing our parks too, who maybe never did.
I'm excited that everyone's coming here to shop parks.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then check out the calendar.
Yes, austinparks.org. Follow us on social. Listen to our podcast. There's a lot of different ways to interact with us.
Okay, and your podcast is monthly.
It's monthly. Whenever we get around to posting it. There's not like a specific day. So
yeah, I get that.
It just depends on what's going on.
Great. Okay, thank you both. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It was a lot of fun chatting with Katie and Caitlyn, and I kept having to stop myself because their conversation kept reminding me of Parks and Recreation. The way they described turning a park near the Highland Park neighborhood from a ditch to a park to enjoy had me picturing Leslie Knope, clipboard in hand, running around Pawnee. That whole team could have really used a Pawnee Parks Foundation. But really, the new Zilker train, what a huge win. To bring back the 60-year tradition of having a mini train in Zilker Park, I'm appreciative of Austin Parks Foundation for pulling that off. That was such a fun childhood activity for my kids. Austin Parks Foundation, thank you for pulling the city together to preserve and improve the parks that make Austin what it is. Parks are one of the things I love most about living here, and your work is the reason we get to enjoy them the way we do. And thank you to Courtney and Piper for breaking down what it really means to trust a nonprofit. We spend a lot of time asking nonprofits to earn our trust by filing their 990s, letting us volunteer, inviting us onto their boards. But the flip side is just as important. Funders need to trust nonprofits too by simplifying applications, giving unrestricted funds, and letting them do the job they were created to do. Now, here's how you can earn some good bragging rights with Austin Parks Foundation. Help maintain Austin's loved parks. Even $5 a month as a perennial partner, and that makes a difference. And if you're really serious about your green space, you can step up as a groundbreaker at $100 a month. Volunteer, join thousands of Austinites at events like It's My Park Day. The next one is November 1st, and this happens twice a year. Or sign up for smaller projects throughout the year. You can even adopt your own neighborhood park and take some ownership of it. And don't forget Party for the Parks, October 8th. Park turns into a night of music, fun, games, and community. And remember, this year's headliner is Passion Pit. Whether you give, volunteer, or jump on the Zilker Eagle train, you'll be keeping Austin's nearly 400 parks vibrant for everyone. And with that, Thank you to Nightlight Insurance Agency for presenting Escape Into a Cause. Thank you to Todd Thompson for editing and mixing, Corey McCain at Just Push Record Studios, and Ashlyn O'Neill for digital content. We hope to see you next week as we escape into Zilker 351, a newer nonprofit organization that is working to honor, preserve, and enhance the natural, cultural, and recreational treasures of the 351-acre Zilker Metropolitan Park for All. If you liked Austin Parks Foundation, you'll absolutely love that one. We hope to see you next week.